Education 2.0, when learning goes beyond the classroom, from alternative paths to the lifelong pursuit of knowledge. We're taking a closer look in this edition of Behind the Headlines. Beginning with Academic Roadshow, top scholars share their top lectures to audiences around the country. Their latest stop is in Naples.
So this is a semester-long survey that starts with the Parthenon and ends with Andy Warhol. Okay. So as you can imagine, it's a bit of a mad dash.
From there, a rare opportunity to see and hear from a woman who's alive today after being placed on Schindler's List. In Living History, she addresses a local crowd. Plus, he's been called an opera athletic, a world-renowned tenor with ties to Southwest Florida. Taking an alternate path helped him reach the height of the world's biggest stages. I'm Amy Osher. Thanks for joining us. We'll also have a commentary from Alan Bartlett. That's all coming up. Welcome back to Behind the Headlines. We tell kids learning can be fun, but it was a mostly adult crowd that paid to be educated and entertained. One Day University puts top minds on one stage for one day. The result is a sellout crowd eager to learn. In the hallowed halls of academia, they are rock stars. Professors from the nation's top universities taking their top lectures on the road.
They come in and people are asking questions. I mean, when they leave, they're being swarmed. They are rock stars.
One Day University is packing auditoriums, presenting informative lessons to sellout crowds. It's part of a trend, people paying to hear thought-provoking talks. This is Rutgers professor Louis Mazur speaking on the myth of Abe Lincoln.
What I want to do is try and humanize him, to recover the man, recover the person, the human being that he was.
He's one of three professors rounding out the Naples stop.
One of the things I like to do in my work is talk about moments and take moments and instances and events and unpack them.
This is the second year One Day U brought its roadshow to Collier County. Topics were handpicked to cover a liberal education.
We asked our attendees last year, what are your favorite topics? And that's what we did. They said history, health, and art.
Bringing science to life is Andrew Schotti.
Watch the crater become the hill, and the hill become the crater.
An engaging speaker, students pack his classes.
How many of you are experiencing that? Fabulous. Move your eye around and it will come back.
It's the college experience we wish we had. Columbia University's Tina Rivers Ryan making art history modern.
So this is a semester-long survey that starts with the Parthenon and ends with Andy Warhol. Okay. So as you can imagine, it's a bit of a mad dash.
No grades, no tests, no homework, no problem for the mostly adult crowd who jumped at the opportunity.
And to be sold out a month in advance, that shows actually how many people in Naples love this.
Another event is scheduled for Naples on April 2nd, the Grand Tour of Italy, covering art, architecture, food, and wine. Another in a day-long series to satisfy the thirst for knowledge. It's a story of survival that mesmerized a crowd at Shabbat, Naples. A Holocaust survivor rescued from a concentration camp shared her first-hand account of Auschwitz. Rena Finder is 86 years old now. She was just 10 when the Nazis invaded Poland. Her family was moved to the Jewish ghetto and later a concentration camp. Finder was ultimately spared the fate of millions of others after being placed on Schindler's List. Reliving the past is difficult, but as one of a dwindling number of survivors, Finder is compelled to share her story to a younger generation.
I was lucky. I was told for my age, and my parents were able to falsify my birth certificate and made me 2 years older. And I remember when we came and stood in line on the building where the office of the German Gestapo was, and we awaited our permits. I remember we were surrounded by hundreds and hundreds of German soldiers.
Breeding better peppers, that's what they're attempting to do at Syngenta's Naples Research Lab. It's a learning process to develop veggies that are more resistant to disease, more nutritious and delicious.
What's happening here is on our research station, we're prepping for the spring trials that are going out in all the different crops. So the plastic is laid, weed control. We've got plants here ready to go out to the field for new transplanting for the breeders to work with.
At their 140-acre farm in East Naples, Swiss agriculture giant Syngenta is working on perfecting the pepper and other vegetables. The goal is to produce plants that are naturally resistant to bugs and diseases, so they'll require less pesticides.
And what we're looking at here is a pollination in peppers. So these are the result of a cross-pollination where we've transferred a trait from one line to another. And these rings that are on the fruits indicate to us which fruits have been pollinated.
Using intense hybridizing and selecting plants with desired traits, they think they've come up with a winner. Two, in fact. Two new varieties they believe are tastier and better for you.
And this is our new product. See how much darker green it is than a normal pepper? So this would be an example of innovation in the sense that we have been able to significantly increase the amount of chlorophyll that's in a single cell, and which creates this beautiful dark green color. But there's also we also know that a product like this has twice as much lutein, which is a good thing for your eyes, than this normal pepper.
These peppers did not require genetic engineering, but are the end result of years of natural selection. With a better taste, they may encourage more of us to eat our veggies. You can find out more reading June Fletcher's story in the Naples Daily News. Ahead on Behind the Headlines, Alan Bartlett talks about schools embracing social status, as in status updates. His commentary is coming up. Welcome back to Behind the Headlines. The School of Hard Knocks is the route an FGCU student took to college. Quite an accomplishment for Zion Simmons, who was once homeless. The Naples Daily News profiled Simmons and his pivot point to successful student.
I come from St. Louis, Missouri, partly in the north side. I used to live with my grandmother and parts of my family, and that's where I've lived since I was 10 years old. It was pretty rough. That's all I can say. There's been times I've been homeless with my mom and my sister. I grew up without a dad, so it was pretty hard not knowing, what to do as a man. Like this summer, I went to my cousin's funeral. She actually was killed for some foolishness that was, I don't even know what happened, but it was really rough on our family. That's the kind of thing that happens all the time. The drugs and the violence that happens in St. Louis, and it's just really bad. But I'm glad that's where I come from. I'm proud that I'm there, and I'm glad that I've made it, and that I'm here, and I'm still progressing to where I am today. I'm majoring in environmental and civil engineering with a minor in Spanish. Hopefully with that, I hope to go do things like study abroad or Engineers Without Borders and Peace Corps. Hopefully with that, I can take that and implement that and go help people around the world. Help, build some bridges, clean some water, any way that I can help. That's kind of my passion to, nature and culture. And that's why I take Spanish, and just to travel and, help.
And at school districts getting a modern makeover that caught Alan Bartlett's attention. In today's commentary, he looks at updated policies that are reaching out in new ways.
The Collier County Public School System was duly recognized recently when the state released its district grades and Collier got an A. Collier is making the grade in the classroom through hard work by the administration, teachers, district staff, and many others, starting with the bus drivers who pick kids up every morning. Fewer than a third of Florida school districts earned an A as Collier did. When you look at Collier's population, it makes the accomplishment all that much more impressive. The district's numbers show about 29,000 out of its 46,000 students come from an economically disadvantaged background. That's about 63%. Among students, 40% come from a home where the primary language is Spanish. That's almost equal to 48% where the main language at home is English. For students who want to continue their education, the district is reaching down into the middle school grades to create more advanced learning opportunities that high school students have now. Beyond the classroom, though, the Collier school system is deeply connected with this community. Its community approach extends to an annual STEM conference and a 5K. It's got a program in schools that connects student entrepreneurs with a mentoring teacher and a business leader to teach real-life lessons and give them an endowment to create student-run businesses. And it's capitalizing on technology, using interactive town halls and social media to provide information that families need to navigate through today's world. So congratulations, Collier County Public Schools, for being an A, not only in the eyes of the state, but in the community's eyes as well. That's what I'm thinking. Join in the conversation at naplesnews.com.
Thanks, Alan. If you'd like to add your thoughts on this or any other topic, we invite you to write us a letter or leave a comment on our Facebook page. For more on what the Naples Daily News is working on, we're going to hand it off to the newsroom and our editor's corner. We're fortunate to have executive editor of the Naples Daily News, Manny Garcia, join us today. And we have a lot of exciting things going on this week in our studio, correct?
Oh yeah, for sure. So we're going to have our mayoral debates starting on Tuesday here in our studio, which is going to be terrific. We're going to have a studio audience, and what we're doing, even though it's sold out, we're going to be live streaming the debate. You'll be there as a moderator, and it's very key because as someone who covered politics for a good share of my career, there is nothing more important than being able to see the candidates interact with the audience, being asked questions by knowledgeable journalists from the Naples Daily News as well as a news partner, NBC2, and just hear how they're going to answer the questions, because that's going to give, again, the voters an opportunity to really size up the candidates. I've always been one who says knowledge is power. The more you have in your hands as voters, the more it's easier for you to make an informed decision.
This is such a hotly contested seat in Collier County, people know, but there's really a lot on the line for this.
Absolutely, because again, you have a very strong incumbent in John Sorey, and then you have the challengers. You have Bill Barnett, who's a former mayor, very well known, and Teresa Heitman, who's also running. And so you have folks who are just with very strong personalities, views of what the future of the city should be. And the big topic, really, the headline, if you will, is like, what's the future going to be of the city of Naples as it continues to grow, develop? You have issues that have to do with the airport expansion. So it's that checks and balance that you've got going on here now, how the three candidates are going to really size up on it.
And what I like is that we're taking responsibility for asking the important questions, because a lot of times when they put out their own information, it's really cherry-picked on what they want to talk about, but we're holding them accountable.
Sure, and that's the job as we do as journalists. You know, we speak, we're the proxy for our readers and for the citizens and voters. So we have to be that checks and balance. You know, we're independent, so we'll ask the questions that maybe they won't want to answer. But I really view that these candidates are very open, and they will be willing to address the issues in a very, very strong, clean manner.
And it's a busy week. The next night we have another forum.
Yeah, the Bonita Mayoral Forum, so we're going to have that coming up there. And again, this for us really plays into our wheelhouse. It's an area of tremendous growth and opportunity in South Lee County. In many ways, you look between Bonita and Estero, it's a real growth and economic driver, politically and economically, for our region. And again, we're going to have a studio audience there. The big advantage is, so if you can't get out of work, you're going to be able to watch it via our live stream on naplesnews.com. So I'm really excited about this. Again, it's always good when you can get the political candidates in-house being questioned by a team of professional journalists and have that banter going back and forth.
Still to come, Harriet Heighthouse introduces us to a top tenor who followed his passion and found success. February is recognized as Black History Month, and in Collier County, one educator offers a unique perspective of race relations in our public schools. Shadow Lawn Elementary's assistant principal, Ollie Phipps, is one of the area's first Black school administrators. Artist, inspiration, educator. He's the subject of a Naples Daily News profile.
Everyone say Underground Railroad! Underground Railroad!
With the fervor of an evangelist, Ollie Phipps preaches a purposeful message.
And I'll say, well, who was the first slave? Martin Luther King! Who was the woman on the bus? Martin Luther King!
Every year, where Phipps gives students an education on race relations. A trailblazer in the Collier County school system, he lived it. From segregation to integration. An accomplished artist, Phipps joined the school district as an art teacher and worked his way up to assistant principal, along the way becoming one of the county's first black administrators. If Phipps strikes a chord with kids, it's no surprise. As a college student at Florida A&M University, he was part of the famous Marching 100 band. A passion player, Phipps takes students on a journey from slave ships through the civil rights movement to mark Black History Month, something that seems like ancient history to them.
You see what hatred would do? You can get so bogged up into hating somebody because of their color or because of their religion, or because of something, you can get so that you forget your own self.
Ollie Phipps wraps his program with a message of acceptance and compassion. You can learn more about Phipps by reading Mel Leonore's story in the Naples Daily News or checking it out online at naplesnews.com. We're rolling out a new feature on Behind the Headlines, an ode to days gone by, when the newspaper would tap people on the street for an opinion or thought on a question of the day. We're calling it Street Beat. We begin by asking whether people think current school requirements are succeeding or failing our kids.
In my particular district, we had a great experience. I do think a lot of kids are slipping through the cracks, and I'm very disappointed in the standardized testing results, particularly in some of the math and reading skills.
I don't think it's too much testing. I think it's misdirected funds, misdirected goals. The goals should be just how much are they learning, not how they do on a test.
I know what I want my kids to learn. I know the schools aren't providing them with everything that I would like them to, but the schools should definitely change how they, how they teach a little bit. Not just for the ratings, not just for the accreditation that they're trying to seek by teaching the tests, but actually growing the students both culturally and educationally.
Common Core, it's terrible. They're putting kids through so much just for so little. Like we're up till like midnight, 10 o'clock doing homework, and then we get to school and then they criticize us for being up too late, and then they say that we need more sleep. But the thing is, they're giving us so much homework, we don't get a chance to sleep. And then they expect us to do after school activities, and then they take people off sports teams just because, their grades aren't up.
Finally, we're going to leave you on a high note. Our Artitude editor, Harriet Heighthouse, spent time with a local opera singer who chose a different path to success.
Today we're with Michael Fabiano, who by everyone's reckoning has earned the first 3 letters of his last name. He has won both the Richard Tucker and the Beverly Sills Awards. He has contracts with the Metropolitan Opera and the San Francisco Opera, among others. He learns his roles so well that he has stepped in on 7 hours' notice to play lead roles at the Met. But most of all, he's a fabulous tenor, and people will be able to hear him with the revered baritone-bass Samuel Ramey this afternoon at First Presbyterian Church of Bonita Springs. Welcome, Michael.
Nice to be with you.
When did you realize that you wanted to pursue singing as a career? You were studying business.
Yeah, I went to the University of Michigan with the intention to study, I would say, economics business, and I had the delight of a wonderful voice teacher because I loved music as it was. That compelled me that I had to study music as a career choice. And initially I didn't believe in it. I thought, the chances of this career are very low. But the man was George Shirley, the first African-American tenor to sing at the Met. And when someone that important says to you, you have this great chance and you have this gift, and you have to share this gift with so many people, that's pretty compelling. And so I kind of weighed my options, and I saw that there was a pathway there for me. It would take a lot of work, a lot of commitment, but I would get there. And that's what happened. And I graduated very quickly and moved into a career at an early age.
What role have you played most, and what differences have there been in that role?
That's a great question. The opera that I've sung the most is La Bohème, so Rodolfo, and I will be doing that role doubly as much in the next 5 years. Everyone will see that quite a bit. And it's interesting because I did it the first time when I was 24, and when I was 24 it was a very, it seemed daunting then, Today I would call it my vocal medicine. It feels as if it's a way that gathers me back into my voice at its core, at its youth. And so when I go off and do new projects, Louisa Miller was one. I got to step back and do Bohème right after it. And for me, it was very relaxing to do it. 7, 8 years ago, it wasn't relaxing. It was a whole new world. And so I'm excited to be able to continue to grow this role. I'm going to do multiple productions of it, new and old ones, over the next 5, 6 years, and can't wait.
You'll be singing with Samuel Ramey, who's a revered baritone bass, and some young stars at the benefit concert for Gulf Shore Opera this afternoon. Have you sung with them before? And I know you're not allowed to give away the program, but maybe there's a don't miss number that you're excited about?
Well, I have revered Sam Ramey. In fact, I'll have a great tidbit about Sam Ramey. The first opera I ever watched live, on DVD or on video, was Mephistopheles with Sam Ramey from San Francisco in 1989. And I remember sitting on the couch and watching this incredible opera Boito and thinking, this is what I have to do. I love this so much. I mean, I was crying, and I'm not a big crier, but that was one of the things that got me. And Sam Ramey's performance was tremendous, and it was fitting because the San Francisco Opera has become one of my stalwart theaters where I sing very often, and he's someone that I definitely look up to. He has a host of incredible recordings that as a young student I listened to, many with Riccardo Muti of Verdi operas, and I have a lot of respect for him.
But is this the first time you
yeah, excuse me, it's the first time.
Okay.
First. I mean, we're different generations, but he's a wonderful person, and I'm looking forward to the moment.
And you're not going to give away any of the numbers?
Well, we're doing a very big scene from Faust together, I can tell you that one. And I don't get to sing Faust as much, but it's a great scene for me, and I know it'll be a great scene for him as well.
That's all for this edition of Behind the Headlines, Southwest Florida's only local news magazine. You can rewatch and share clips from this show by going to naplesnews.com or liking us on Facebook. I'm Amy Osher. We'll see you back here next week.